Hey and welcome to the Simply Create Business Podcast. These episodes focus on businesses based in the London and Essex area. We are bringing you their stories, the journey, and a great insight into them as people and their businesses. In each episode, we explore where it all started, where they are now, and what's next. We're back again with a brand new guest. His name is Chris Walker. He owns an artisan business called Harfi. He's gone from playing poker to jumping into sales, and now he owns his own business. Another great guest on the podcast who shares their journey, their stories, and advice. Okay, let's go. Okay, so Chris, we're gonna basically dive straight in. It's a cold audio track right now. We're gonna warm it up with some quickfire questions. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Okay, Jaffa cakes, are they a biscuit or a cake?
Biscuit.
Takeaway or restaurant?
Restaurant.
Instagram or Snapchat?
Instagram.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Mac or PC?
PC.
Autumn or spring?
Spring.
Music while you work or silence?
Silence.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Slow down time.
Good one. What is your least favourite chore?
Packing boxes and operations generally.
One thing you would definitely take to a desert island?
Knife.
Morning person or a night person?
Morning now.
Now, that's interesting.
That's switched. Yeah, it definitely used to be nocturnal.
Favourite album, past or present?
Chainsmokers, Collage.
I don't know it, but I might check it out now. Peanut butter, crunchy or smooth?
Smooth.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Great. That's the quickfire questions over. Have you got a question you would like to find out that I could ask podcasters in the future? Something you would think would be a good either or question?
Either or. Okay. Night in or night out?
Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into the beginning, and that's kind of where we want to start. That's just a little bit of a warm-up so people can get a feel of a little bit of your character, obviously not, but we're going to start off by basically finding out about you. So, Chris, can you tell us, anything about you really, your hobbies, what you're interested in, where you grew up, kind of just summarize all about Chris.
So I guess, I grew up in Hertfordshire, and then had sort of a conventional experience. Went to university. I've always been keen on sports, like any type of sport, either watching or playing. I've always been extremely competitive. Not just sports, even like board games against my gran. Anything. I always want to sort of, I want to win. So in particular, I guess football, tennis, badminton.
What football? Got into a bit of,
it's a sore subject now after yesterday, but I'm an Arsenal fan.
Okay, yeah. We'll move on just because, no tears this early on in the podcast.
Yeah, and that was not a good experience. But yeah, I've got an Arsenal season ticket as well, so that's something I've done for the past few years.
Amazing.
But unfortunately, that's since I got the ticket, I was on the waiting list for about 15 years, and then when they're in Highbury, and then they moved to a bigger stadium. And yeah, since then we haven't done so well, but it's something I do with my dad, and it's
nice.
Yeah, something I enjoy. But yeah, generally I like playing over watching. Outside of that, in terms of hobbies, go to the gym quite regularly, socializing, all the kind of normal stuff, hanging out with my girlfriend, my family, and yeah, just focusing on the business really.
Okay, great. Which leads us nicely into the business. So yeah, tell us about your business. Tell us what you're up to. Tell us how you got started, how it all came about. The journey and the story is really important for anyone kind of listening, really.
Yeah, I guess I can go a bit further back. So I've got quite an interesting background. So at university, I studied philosophy. So I wasn't particularly vocational. Most people think I do like maths or economics. I'm more kind of a numbers guy, but yeah, I went into philosophy. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, and actually started playing a little bit of poker there. So I don't know. Do you play any poker yourself?
I have played poker, yeah, even in Las Vegas. Not professionally, just have played it, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I was out. Being out in Vegas a few times, and I went to Warwick University, and then had a big poker society. So anyway, I started playing that for a bit, and I started doing pretty well. So after university, I had sort of a couple of jobs here and there. Nothing too serious. Wasn't really sure what sort of direction I wanted to take. I didn't have like a clear path. And I was doing progressively well on the poker. So I was like, let's just, it didn't really, I was actually costing me money to have a job. So I thought, let's just see how it goes, where this goes. Had a lot of success. I guess the first, I did it for like 7 years in total. So quite an unconventional career path. And it's something I kind of just fell into, and then did quite well year on year. So at no point did it really make sense for me to look elsewhere. But I guess around sort of 5 years in, I started feeling slightly like empty. I was like, well, is this, where's, when you get to like your late 20s, you're like, where's my life going? And I was like, I don't want to be playing poker in 10 years time. It's too solitary. Yeah. There's no value add. It's kind of a zero-sum game. You're not giving anything back. Mm-hmm. It's very nocturnal, like going back to like night or day. I was extremely nocturnal person, and it wasn't really conducive to having like a healthy family life if I was wanting to have a family down the line. So I was sort of progressing forward and thinking, what do I want to do in my life? I don't just want to do this. And it was a very specific skill set, with, I know how to play cards, but it's not necessarily that like transferable to other things.
Okay, yeah.
And I always like to kind of push myself. I was getting very comfortable. So I'm always conscious that I want to push myself. I want to improve. So I sort of sat down and thought about what the action plan was. I always had like in the back of my mind that I wanted to start a business, but I didn't have any kind of industry experience. I've never worked in I had a few jobs, but nothing serious, not in like a proper company, seeing how a company's run from the inside.
Okay.
So I went into sales for a couple of years just to try that out. I thought that'd be quite useful skill to have, and also to see, just to test out, see how companies run.
Makes sense.
Try and pick up a few new sort of skill sets and something different, completely different to what I was doing before. Because poker was obviously solitary. I was focusing on what I'm doing, but I wasn't, focusing outward. So I thought in sales, you've got to be very gregarious, outgoing. You're always meeting new people, trying different things. And I'll be focusing on something that was very different to what I was doing before. But it's also quite meritocratic in the sense that if you go into sales and you're quite good, you can climb up quickly.
Of course, yeah.
Obviously, in normal career, you start, I had to start at the bottom. So I was going to take a huge pay cut to get into this role. I was, unlike most other people there, were like coming out from uni. They were like chasing their bonus and stuff. That was super important for me. Yeah. I was coming from a totally different angle of trying to improve myself.
Yeah, nice.
And I wasn't the sort of person that they took a bit of a gamble on me, I guess, because I would have worked for no money, just commission only. I just wanted to throw myself in the deep end and try something different and pick up some new skills.
Amazing.
But it was never the long-term plan, I guess, to do sales the whole time, but it was just to pick up something else. And maybe that would, just by throwing myself out that comfort zone, it would put me into, I'd come up with new ideas and inspiration, because before that I felt I had a lack of confidence to actually start a business.
Okay.
Because I was like, where do I start? I'd already ran a poker business before. I used to, stake lots of players, in the sense that I would finance them and they would work for me and I'd coach them.
Yeah.
I decided that, I wanted to get away from poker altogether, because otherwise I'd just be sort of stuck in this niche.
Yeah.
And I want to expand my horizon. I don't want to be, the poker guy. There's a lot more things I want to achieve in life. And I don't, when I hit 30, I was like, okay, in late 20s, I was like, okay, let's try something different. Yeah. Nothing tried, nothing gained. I think is that the phrase?
Yeah, that's true.
But so jumping forward to then, when I left the sales role after a couple of years, especially the first year was very useful. I thought I gained a lot of useful skills, and I felt a lot more confidence about trying something different. So I guess my first approach was to apply to a few startups, because this was quite a massive company that I was working for.
Yep.
And I thought, let's go into a startup first and then start my own business. So I had a few interviews with a few startups. And most of the time I was just left with this feeling, actually, I could just do it myself. I sat there. I was like, well, there's no reason why I can't do this myself. Like, unless I was really picky on, like, if I went into a startup, it would have to be for someone that I could learn a lot from. I was kind of craving for kind of a business mentor.
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't going in there for the salary. I'll be going in there for the experience and to, build my skill set up a bit.
Yeah. Learn and grow.
Yeah, and just grow. I was conscious that perhaps I was deficient in certain areas, because I've been so focused on my goal of being successful at poker. And then I was like, well, I'm now going to have to start at the bottom of something else. And that's kind of scary because your identity is quite closely matched to what you're doing. So I was like, I know I'm successful at this, and now I'm transitioning to something else. I've got to kind of prove myself again.
But there's a competitive nature coming out in you, right?
I'm crazy competitive, and I think that helps for a business, right? Because you have to, it gives you that drive and determination that if you start something, and when I said I'm going to start this business, I'll put my neck on the line, and I'm not going to do it unless I think I can do it okay, because I've got my pride, and if I don't succeed, then it hits my pride. And whenever I've been really passionate about something, that has generally led to success because I've really just put in the hard work and the grind. And it doesn't even feel like a grind because it's your passion. It's what you want to do.
Put your all into it because you want to put your all into it.
Yeah, exactly. And look about a lot of people, obviously they have their careers, but a lot of people, I guess, kind of fall into it and they might find it okay. But I think to really succeed at something, well, for me anyway, I need to really be passionate about what I'm doing. I need to get up in the morning and feel passionate about getting closer to my end goal. So with this business, it's about just trying to grow the business to the point where I want it to be. So I guess moving forward with that background to sort of how the business came about. Had a few. So I knew I wanted to start a business, but I didn't want to be poker, and that's what I knew before. So I want to try something else. So I bounced a few ideas off my girlfriend. She was like my sounding board, and I had a few ideas that just weren't very good. I was just so sure I wanted a business. Sometimes I'd like to do my research before saying this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And then a lot of time the research would show, okay, the barriers to entry were too high, or the initial costs were going to be too high. And I really wanted to work. So I'd try and find a way for that to actually work. But a lot of these ideas didn't have any legs. It would need a lot of expenses just to get started, or it'd be something that other people with industry experience would be a lot more qualified to do. Or, for a lot of ideas, I'd need like an in-house designer because I'm not a designer. I'm more like the business kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Then my partner came up with this idea. Sabrina, is my partner and my business partner, my life partner, I guess. Yep. She came up with this idea to, she's got like a marketing background and she's seen a lot of they've got an amazing history of hand craftsmanship there. Yeah. So she saw a lot of goods there that she thought would do well over in the West. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of handmade. They have a lot of artisans who hand make different products. Yep. And that's been around for generations, sort of passed from, father to son and so forth through the family. But they had quite limited market for their product. A lot of them might not speak English, or they just didn't have the know-how. They knew how to design their products, but they didn't know how to get it to sale to end user. Yeah, which is not just them. I guess a lot of designers have that issue where they're so passionate about the design, but they don't have the commerciality to actually bring the design to market. Yeah. And unfortunately, the success of a business, I think a lot of time is the marketing is kind of key, and that commerciality, because you can have the best products in the world, but if no one knows about it, then it's just unfortunately it's not going to work, right? So, so we're like, okay, let's do this. I was like, this idea, it worked. I did a bit of analysis beforehand. I looked at, did some research on competitors, how much it would cost to set up, were the margins good enough? Do we actually have a business? Is there enough demand? Is there space in the market? And I was like, yeah, I think there is. It's not a brand new idea. Like other people have similar ideas. There are businesses sort of doing a somewhat similar thing.
How much time did you spend on that kind of research phase, roughly? Obviously.
It was probably like a couple of weeks. Okay. Cool. So I was, just trying to size up how big the market was, how easy it would be for us to get in there, what would be our barriers to entry getting in there, what about the logistics, trying to crunch the margins, just to see ultimately if the idea would work.
Yeah, I think it's important. It's nice to know how much research and time they spent on exploring an idea, because I think sometimes people get stuck with just that first stage. They either don't do enough and they dive straight in, or they go on for ages and ages and almost talk themselves out of it rather than into it.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I think a lot of people have good ideas, but at the end of the day, you need to do your research to make sure it works. Yep. And if you're going to do the idea, there's a few things you need to test out first on a small scale before you decide, okay, I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm gonna do.
Put all your chips in the pot, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. I think you need to, you definitely need to do a bit of research. You set yourself up for success. Like I said, I had a couple of other ideas that are probably not worth mentioning, but they just weren't going to work really. I was just so sure that I wanted to have a business, and I just, I'm quite impatient. I want to sort of push things through, but I thought, okay, I need to take a bit of time in the research, and it'll pay off in the long term.
Yeah.
So I guess after that couple of weeks, I think the first day we actually flew out to Morocco, which is where we get most of our goods.
Yep.
So with suppliers and stuff, it's hard to find them online. Like they don't have websites, they don't necessarily speak English. And we're like, we need to go out there. If we're going to build up relationships, we need to meet them.
How many times have you been to Morocco now?
So now, I just twice. Okay. Yeah, have you been to Morocco yourself?
No, I haven't. Family have, so they've always said it's really nice. So I just wondered if it was now a back and forth from Morocco kind of thing you've kind of got going.
Yeah, well, the business is still super fresh. So I think ideally we'd go once per quarter.
Nice.
Just to like maintain relationships with the suppliers.
Yep.
Go out there, and then for new product designs and stuff, it's definitely important to go out there.
Yeah,
we've had some like funny like Skype calls and stuff with artisans, which is just really difficult to build up trust on Skype or video call when the English is like problematic.
Of course.
You've not met them, you can't like touch the products. So I think you get a much better sense, then you get like a gut feeling as well.
Yeah.
And that pumped me up so much. Like when I went out there and met them, I was like, oh wow, we can actually really help these local communities, like boost the local communities. They've got amazing products, but they don't know how to, widen their market. They're just selling it to like the local market.
Yeah.
Whereas if we go there, we can sort of help them by increasing their market, and also by cutting out the middleman, we can pass on some of the savings to them as well. And also we thought, just from a business point of view, these products would do really well over here.
Yeah.
They're all handmade. They're very unique. There's a lot of story behind each product. So I think if someone had them in their like living room or whatever, it'd be kind of nice. Like with like a piece of art, you have a story behind where it's come from. Like for example, one of our rugs, it comes from like the Atlas Mountains. These Berber tribes hand weave them for like a couple of months.
Wow.
Then it comes down to the market in Marrakesh, and then it comes here. And it's taken them like 6 weeks, 2 months to hand weave them from scratch. And I guess, nowadays you see a lot more things. There's a lot more fast fashion and things, but I think it's nice to kind of preserve this.
And it's a great story and process that you get to tell along the way. From going from, like you said, the mountains all the way to doorstep of the customer, if you like. We haven't mentioned what the company is, so fire away and plug as much as you want. Tell them the name, where they can find you, how to get in contact, because that's what this is all about. So don't shy away from telling people all your details. So go for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, sometimes feel free to cut me off. Sometimes I get carried away in stories and stuff like that. But yeah, so the business is called Harfi, and essentially what the nature of the business is, we bring in ethically sourced homeware and lifestyle products directly from the makers. So we try and connect the consumer directly with the maker. And the products in the homeware, it's kind of like rugs, throws, baskets. We also come from, as well as Morocco, we do Vietnam, Turkey, but it's always with the artisans themselves. And we're always, on the lookout very specifically for areas that have a long history of hand craftsmanship. And then on the lifestyle style of things, we sell like leather bags. We just brought out a new cosmetic product, argan oil, which you can only get from Morocco as well. So it's still quite early, so that the products are kind of cutting and changing depending on where the demand is.
Of course.
But that's sort of the ethos of the business. It's all ethically sourced, it's all handmade, and it's connecting people directly with the maker.
And if anyone wants to get in contact with you, or the best way to find you, tell them where that is and how to.
So I guess for social media, it's Instagram. It's at Harfi online. And then in terms of the website, it's harfi.co.uk.
Excellent. And like I said, it's definitely all about getting people on here and people trying to, stumble across the podcast, and then hopefully stumble across yourselves and go and really go from there. And obviously that's how I found you to even have you on the podcast is social media. So now you're here. So you've talked us through up to you kind of having the idea. What stage would you say the business is at right now? So where are you, how are you currently doing, where are you going from here, kind of thing?
So I guess So we're about 6 to 9 months in now,
Nice.
depending on where you sort of started from. So we're still fresh, but I feel like we've adjusted and adapted we've come quite a long way from when we first started. Specifically in January, so we launched the business on the website in August, and then in January, we actually sat down and we formulated a proper business plan, very granular, going into real details about, month on month where we want to be, every single incentive down to sort of the finest detail. So I think we're in the structure is there, and there's been quite a lot of growth since we actually did the business plan. That's been pretty helpful for us.
Great.
Especially the past 2 or 3 months.
Is this what you and your partner do full time, or are you both kind of juggling stuff, or are you kind of all in?
It's just the poker pun.
Yeah, that's going to keep coming. That's going to keep coming out. Unfortunately, I
put all my chips. My chips are all in the Harfi basket. This is pretty much what all I do with my. It's not like a conventional 9 to 5, as you know, like with the business. But it is when I wake up every day. I'm always trying to think, how can I advance Harfi? That's my full-time focus. My business partner, Sabrina, my girlfriend, she's still got a full-time job. She's got a good job, and I think it'll be a little while until we got to the point where potentially she would join as well. But for the moment, it's just myself.
We'll be getting right back into the interview in just a moment. We just wanted a chance to say thank you very much for listening. If you're not already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, we'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on the podcast, so please make sure you get in touch on any of the social media platforms. And finally, if you're listening to this in an app, please don't forget to rate and review. It's really appreciated. Right, straight back to it. Okay, nice. And you've been, the kind of difficult question we were kind of already touched on kind of just before we came on to the podcast, but you've been going for 6 to 9 months. Has there been a time in that 6 to 9 months that you've thought that you made a wrong decision, that you thought, actually, this isn't what I've thought, I shouldn't be doing this or whatever? And did you come close to giving up? If so, or how did you kind of navigate around that?
I don't think there's ever been a point where I've been close to giving up. I think we've made a lot of mistakes along the way, for sure. But that's how we've learned, and the business has changed a lot from when we had first conceived the idea to where it's at now.
Yeah.
But at no point have I doubted that the business will be a success in the long term. And I just think that if we can get all the, our experience and our decisions are going to get better over time.
Yep.
And if we can just get all those small decisions done well, then the business will sort of come in together as a whole. So now we see, I see it like a jigsaw, so there's like all the different bits. You've got the marketing, finances, operation, etc. And then within the marketing, you've got, Facebook ads, Google, everything. But then as you sort of nail on each piece, I think that the struggle is there, but I think that's part of the fun, right? The struggle is how you learn and improve.
Definitely.
And I've just, it's the time has sort of flown by. And there's been, I guess, difficult times, but I think my personality is quite well suited to this.
I was going to say the competitive nature that you're talking about, and also I'm assuming, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the kind of analysis of a poker player and analyzing kind of where your stuff kind of all fits together kind of makes sense, that you're hungry to push on and take a bit of risk here and there, but also, competitive. So you want to, succeed.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that puts people off about business is it's risky, right? Because you don't have the security, you don't have your paycheck coming in. But, I've never really had that. I've never really had any worries about security. Yeah. I've always wanted to kind of push to the next level. And I guess the poker does help in the sense that in like a month-to-month basis on poker, you can definitely lose. But if you get all the decisions right, it's just maths. Like, you're going to make money in the long term. So I try not in the business, try not look at how many sales we made that week. But I will look at, how have we done over sort of a 3-month period, and also just try and evaluate against, we'll have our plan in place. So let's say we'll have our plan for Q2, and then I'll say, well, have we done all the inputs? Where could we improve? So I guess that analysis does help trying not to get, you get kind of emotional because your business is like your baby. You definitely do get emotional about it. Much more emotional than what I would have thought, what I ever was before doing anything else. Like, everything seems to be like multiplied by 10.
Like
any issue of like a customer, I will do anything to like resolve that issue, that, give me sleepless nights. I'll get up early. I've taken the tube to drop off a parcel at the start because I was worried it was going to arrive like on time. Actually, it was supposed to arrive on time, and I was super worried. So I actually took a tube and I dropped it off myself.
Nice.
So yeah, everything seems to get multiplied, but
no, I agree. I think move into kind of the present, and I think you might have a different take to most people who've been on the podcast about community. But this podcast is to drive like people that are at the high street community into business and coming online, but also people that are coming across this podcast to understand that there needs to be a network of businesses supporting businesses, but actually the public supporting businesses, etc. But you've also got another community that you're obviously in, which is obviously the artisan community, in terms of where you have to potentially travel to, or at least create a sense of community, or at least relationships. So can you talk a little bit about how community has been for you, whether that's the business community, the general public and customers, or or your take on the kind of artisan community?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the things that has been the most fulfilling and enjoyable about the business is community. So I guess there's two separate points there. There's the community with the artisans. And so one of the things that really drives me is that down the line, I think we can have a real effect on these local communities. So I've gone out there, I've met these people, I've met their family. They've given me lists. We've become like friendly, and it really drives me to the point, that I can actually make a significant difference.
Yep.
Like we wouldn't need to reach much demand here to really change the lives of that specific community. So I think that's great. And whenever I go out there, we always have like mocha and tea together. We sort of talk things through, and we're kind of training them up in some sense, because when we first started, we're like, there's a bit rough. They're not used to dealing with people internationally, and so there's cultural differences as well in terms of community. So there's like, they teach me certain ways that they do things, which is quite different. It's very different to how we do things here. So it's a bit of to and fro to really build that relationship, build that trust, which takes time. And
that really relationships that could last for a long time as well, considering how you're helping them and they're helping you. As long as it's mutual, that seems like something that could be really beneficial for a long-term kind of relationship of what they're making and how you're helping them.
Yeah, 100%. I hope so. Yeah, I hope this relationship I built, especially on the last trip, that we can work with them for a long time, and that relationship will develop and evolve. But I think that is one of the real driving factors for the business, that we're not just doing it to, I guess, make money or whatever. There's a more wholesome reason for doing it.
There's the more fulfilling element that you talked about that poker wasn't giving you.
Yeah, 100. It's completely different. And on the other side of community, like meeting other people who are doing their own businesses, and like me helping them helping me with our struggles. I think whatever business you're doing, you're going to have similar struggles. And unless you're actually doing your own business, and like before I'd done it myself, you don't really know what it's like. And I said everything is sort of multiplied. You feel things like a lot more when it's your own thing. And unless you meet someone who's actually got their own business, it's tough to relate.
Of course.
Because you just don't care as much.
So talking about struggles, can you tell us about something that you're struggling with right now? Again, the reason for this question is that maybe you're struggling with it, and someone who listens that could potentially help or give some insight. But also the other side to this question is that people understand, who want to start a business or have started a business, that people go through struggles, and no one's got it all kind of worked out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a constant struggle in terms of like, you're putting fires out. I don't know if you find it as well. You're putting fires out all the time, especially when you're dealing with customers and dealing with the sort of suppliers that we're dealing with. It's not the most predictable thing. So there's struggles in marketing as well. Like at the start, you just have to be prepared to your return on investment is going to build over time as your brand builds. So you have to be kind of take that leap of faith, I guess, to invest the money in. It's going to be long term. So in terms of that, I think if you're not willing to do the struggle, I wouldn't do a business. I think most people, to get to the position where I'm at here, I think most people would definitely given up, just because we've had so many knockbacks, so many things have just gone completely wrong. There's got to be a real
element of perseverance and resilience,
and just self-belief that you believe in the business. Because a lot of things is going to tell you that, like, oh, maybe you're not doing the right thing. and can definitely, you've got to have a lot of confidence in what you're doing and a lot of belief. And yeah, like you said, perseverance is huge. So if you don't have that type of personality, I wouldn't recommend doing it, because it's not that glamorous. Like, a lot of it's not that glamorous. It's a lot of hard work behind the scenes to really get the end result. So yeah, like we're talking about, like doing finances or operations. I've packed so many boxes. I've had so many things break. I've had so many angry customers, couriers. Like, there's just so many things that have gone wrong where it'd be easy to, like, at the time you're like, this is kind of annoying, but you know, at the end of the day, I just feel lucky that I've got this opportunity.
Is there anything in particular you can think of that you are struggling with that would like help on? Obviously, I'm just pushing you, but it doesn't matter if you haven't.
Yeah. So in terms of that part, I guess I'm struggling to lose. Like, I'm doing most things myself, actually. So really giving away control to other people.
Yeah.
I'm finding that difficult.
It's your baby, remember?
Huh?
It's your baby, remember? That's why it's
yeah. So even like small things, like it's there's that element of trust, and that you just think I'm just going to care so much more than they will.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just like down the line, we would like to build the team up, and you know, I'm almost at like full capacity, so just finding ways to pass on, you know, pass on the
delegate some responsibility elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't say I guess it's one specific thing. And I guess the other thing, I guess, in terms of community, at the moment, I'm kind of working from home. So it can be kind of, I have been looking, okay, this is something that maybe people could help with, is that I've been looking for a community, essentially. I've been looking for like a business club that I can join with other like-minded people, where we can push each other on, share ideas.
Of course.
Because I have gone to like these a number of different events, but I find it's not quite the right quite the right fit. So it's if there was like I'd imagine it'd be something, it's sort of like a paid for club for people who are quite serious. So I find a lot of people, it's like people who are just starting out or they have the ideas, but I think it'd be good to have a club where people are actually doing it. So that's something that I was looking at, sort of co-working spaces, but it just didn't really make sense
overhead
to do that. Yeah, because I was just like, you know, I can make, you can do everything here. I've got my computer here, it's quicker here. My Wi-Fi is quicker here. So that doesn't make sense. But then I do like, I definitely need to get out of the house. Like every day I make sure I get out. I'm a quite social person. So that's very important to me. So there's that constant cross between, I like to socialize, but at the end of the day, I don't want to get distracted. I'm like quite tunnel vision on the goal.
I get that.
I think if you like find the right people, then you can definitely help each other out. So I guess if someone's doing like a similar business, e-commerce business, and they want to reach out to me, and they think we could sort of help each other out, we'd have similar struggles, then definitely, or some sort of community, I would definitely be open to that.
Sounds good. So listeners, if anybody is listening and can help out, then get in touch with Chris, definitely. I think that's the community element is I know that running business, it can often be, you can be so goal orientated. Sometimes you miss the opportunity of making those connections because you're focusing on your goal, but actually helping other people and kind of cross collaboration can excel you even further, even quicker, because you're seeing things or doing things from a different perspective that helps you just see things differently. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. And I think other people have different skills and they come at a different angle. So it's definitely useful to get different opinions, and also just push each other on, and just for like positive motivation. If I ever come across people who are doing their own business, I'm always super curious, asking lots of questions, and sort of, I think a lot of time it can feel like you're doing it on your own. So it's definitely good to have that like positive push that you are doing something that is hopefully going to make a difference.
That's literally why I started the podcast. So one of the reasons is that I was like, I want to speak to people that are running their own business or have been business owners. I want to learn and listen and talk to them about their stories, their insight, their experiences to learn from. But while I'm doing that, why don't I share that with a wider community that other people might take from it as well? But I'll first one to admit that this was kind of almost a selfish project to just be like, let me talk to more people and then use that and to get things for my own benefit as well as hopefully helping other people. So.
Right, no, absolutely. And it's always like, there's always a selfish element to everything you do, really. I'm not sure if there's ever really like a completely selfless act, but what you're doing is obviously quite inspiring to other people. Like I checked out some of your sort of podcasts. You've got interesting guests on people that people can relate to as well, and sort of probing into actually what goes into running a business. So what you're doing is really helping inspire other people like myself, to know that there are other people out there with similar struggles.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, I think it's really good.
So Simply Create is obviously my company, and it's really big on creativity. So we kind of actually believe that creativity is fundamental for businesses, especially now, and will be in the future, when lots of things get automated, and technology kind of makes things leaner. That creativity is going to be the standout factor between, you know, what takes things to the next level. How important are you finding, or do you think creativity is in your business? And how do you use it, or how do obviously the artisans are using it? But what's your kind of just general take on the element of creativity within business?
Yeah, I think, like we said, creativity is important. As you get a lot more things are automated, it's difficult to really stand out. So especially when you're doing brand awareness, that's creativity is how you're going to show yourself different, and how you're going to get kind of your personality across.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess one example was we took a videographer with us to our last trip to Morocco, Fez, and he was there for 3 days just filming, a guy called Tommy, and he filmed like interviews with the artisans, and they were loving it as well. They got like really excited talking about making the products, so that felt good. Just they had a couple of days of excitement there.
Yeah.
But then, so what we do with the videos is then we'll compile them, edit them to really. It's difficult to get across our kind of business in words. I think video is a lot more powerful to get across actually being out in Morocco, seeing the products, seeing them actually making the products, seeing us interacting with them is a lot more powerful than what you can do with words. So that's one. And something like Instagram as well. Like there's so many people on Instagram and they're just posting. It can be kind of bland, right? Because especially when sometimes, so I do our Instagram account, and if you're posting every day, you can get into like a rut. Like sometimes I'm like, what am I going to post? Like nothing. I'm not inspired to post anything today. I can't think of something interesting. I don't just want to post like a salesy post. So I do think it's quite good to try and be creative with what you're posting on there, because there's just so many, like, you know, on Instagram it's so saturated.
100%. Yeah, and even more when you go into certain niches is even more saturated than just being in, you know, Instagram saturation. There's kind of industry saturation. I kind of feel like one of the ones in particular that I've kind of had to deal with recently is like the fitness, the side of Instagram. That's just a beast until its own. It's not even like anything else.
Yeah, it's just there's just so much. Yeah, like you said, there's so much saturation there, and so it's hard for them to sort of separate themselves out.
Yeah, exactly. You have to think about something different to step out of the break the mold kind of territory, I suppose.
Yeah, completely.
What do you think is the most unique thing about your business?
The most unique thing about the business, I guess that makes it distinguish it from other businesses, is that all the products are handmade and they come directly from the makers in developing countries. So every product has a story. Every product is completely unique. With like handmade products, there's the stitching or the coloring. Every product is different. Yeah. So you know when you get that product that it is someone's poured their like heart and soul into that product, and so it's it's just not something that there's going to be thousands of them. It's going to be individual, and the sort of personality of the person who made it's going to be in there.
I'm assuming that's going to be for every product pretty much sold as well, in terms of how they're doing it and feeling and all that kind of stuff comes into play if they're making one at a time, rather than it being a kind of, you know, churning out hundreds of thousands all the time.
Yeah, it takes them a long time to just make one. Like I said, one rug takes between 6 to 8 weeks of sort of hard, pouring their heart and soul for 2 months. So I think they get quite, they're probably quite emotionally connected to their products. And when we did the videography in Morocco and they got the opportunity to talk about their craft, they were clearly very passionate.
Yeah. Have the video been released yet, or is that coming? Is that coming soon to a Instagram account near you?
Yeah, watch this space. I think it's gone for a few edits actually, because I'm kind of like to try and get things is kind of exactly how I want, but it should be coming out soon. Tommy came out on the trip. He's working hard on that, so it should come out in the next couple of weeks, and we'd put it on Instagram and the website as well.
Amazing. What's been the most successful so far? So obviously I'm going to bet, this video is going to do wonders for you. I'm not even, I do videography myself, so I'm just betting on the videographer right now.
That's what you've done. You got some really good stuff on
there. But what do you think has been the most successful advertising avenue for you so far?
Instagram has been really good for organic growth. Just because it's picture based and it can sort of grow naturally without the return on investment is generally quite good. But I think the lifeblood of most e-commerce businesses is going to be Google. So takes a bit more time, but search without getting too technical, SEO and getting yourself up the Google rankings. That's where almost all of the traffic will come from down the line. But it takes a few months for that to really kick in.
Yeah. No, mate. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Have you got a piece of advice for anybody who wants to start a business? Not necessarily in your niche, although it can be. You can really give some focused advice.
Don't copy my idea.
But yeah, if you've got anybody who's sitting there listening to this or watching this right now, I'm thinking, I've got this idea and I'm kind of on the cusp of starting or not starting. Have you got some advice for them to help them along the way, kind of thing?
Yes, I think it's important that you're very passionate about what you're doing. You're not just trying to make a quick buck, because that won't last. That won't get you through that long nights when you're trying to get through the less glamorous parts of doing it. To do something, first of all, think about what you're passionate about is. And then also you do need to research to make sure it's a legitimate business idea. Make sure that, can you afford to put in the money that's going to need to get the business off the ground? If not, are you going to be able to get investment? I think a lot of people get carried away with the actual idea, and they get so focused on the idea. But at the end of the day, it's not, the idea is just one small part, one small cog of the machine. So you do need to look at the other parts as well to see if it does make sense.
And that's why you need to love it, right? Because the idea is only the small part. And if you don't love it, you've got to do all these other things that you might not love around it, but they have to be done.
Yeah, so many other parts. Yeah, especially if a lot of people obviously focus on the design, but the marketing, the finances is very important.
Definitely.
So it's not necessarily the most fun part, but you need to see, can you sustain? You start a business, you're probably not going to make money first year. Very unlikely you're going to make much money, to be honest. You're going to get the payoff 3-4 years down the line. So are you willing to put in a lot of hard work when you're not going to get any return initially? So you need a lot of grit and perseverance and passion. I think passion is pretty important.
What going into the future section, so the last little section now, just a few more questions. What are you most excited about for your business in the next 12, 18 months, maybe 2 years?
Most passionate about I just want to continue the growth that we've started. So I think the business is going to change a lot from where it is now to the future, and just getting well established,
building on momentum and the foundations you've already created, kind of thing.
Exactly. And hopefully, I guess after a couple of years, you want the business to be, we're still quite fresh, but you want the business to be profitable. Definitely after sort of 18 months is when you want to start looking at actually making a profit. But I think at the start, the key is really revenue. Like, you do need to focus on that and growing that. And then all of the sort of the nicer ideas that you have, the more wholesome ideas, that will come off the back of having a lot of revenue. That will be a vehicle to achieve what you want to. So I think really, building the business, building up demand, and just establishing ourselves more in the UK market.
We'll definitely be watching closely, I tell you that. What a kind of a bit off of subject, but what is your favorite or most useful, productive tool that you're using in your business now, like an app or something that you just think every day I use that and I need it and it's valuable? And
I'm getting quite good on Photoshop.
Okay.
I think that's, if you're on Instagram, Photoshop is very, and on your website, especially e-commerce, the pictures need to be really good. So there's so much to Photoshop. When I first started, I thought it was quite overwhelming, but I think that's a super useful one when you're doing an image-based business. And also I'd recommend Shopify. I use the Shopify platform for my website.
Okay.
If you're not too you're not too technical like myself when I started, it gives an easy way to build a quite good looking website. And the support there is great as well. So they're used to dealing with people who are just starting out, and they give you all the tools to get everything up and running. Okay. So I'd give a shout out to Shopify as well.
Might check that out myself. Got a few e-commerce type things coming up in the future, I think.
Okay.
So a scenario question. If someone, and this is kind of based on learnings probably from pre-poker, after poker, trying out sales, all that kind of stuff. If someone who's just out of school, just out of college or university, and they're looking to get employed somewhere, how do you think they can stand out from the crowd? What can they do, or what would your advice be to kind of take that step into something they want to do rather than just getting a job they feel like they have to do?
So definitely, in terms of to stand out, definitely want to start getting internships. If I went back in time and I told myself I would have got internships every summer, get experience in different businesses, and also build your network. I think networking is huge in business as well. So make sure you build your network and you utilize your network. On LinkedIn now, for example, you can see, let's say you want to apply to a company, you can see that they tell you a second connection with, you're probably going to meet a company you want to apply at. You probably know someone working there most of the time, or you know someone who's friends with someone who works there. So get in touch with them and get in touch with your friend and say, look, I'm interested to work in this company. Can you meet up for coffee? I did a few similar things when with this business. I met up with people who are doing similar businesses through LinkedIn. So I would utilize LinkedIn and really, make use of your network.
Amazing. I think that's sound, and it's the reason I say that is I think it's something I definitely agree with as well. I'm a big fan of social media and the power it can have positively for both businesses, communities, for anyone really, but only if obviously using the right way. And I think, something you've just mentioned there, using LinkedIn to recognize people that you have certain networks or connections with, and developing those relationships is a definite massive positive.
And I think people are happy to do it, actually. So a lot of people are nervous. I ask someone to meet up for coffee, they'll think it's a burden, but I don't think they do. Like, people they like passing on knowledge. Like, if someone hit me up and said, look, I'm interested in starting a business, and they send me a message, let's go for a coffee. If they're really serious about it, I would, I think you gain quite a lot from helping other people. Definitely. As much as I like to learn from someone else, it's nice to teach and help other people as well.
100%. Which moves on to the last and final question, which is a kind of get your own back style question. Do you have a question for me? Is there something you want to challenge me on? Is there something that you'd like to ask me? You don't have to, but it's just my way of saying I've asked you and put you under the kind of spotlight for a while now. It's your turn to get your own back.
All right. Let me think about something juicy.
Don't make it too juicy.
No, I had a look at sort of your business, and I've seen you do a lot of podcasts, which is really good. So I guess I'll be interested to know what's your kind of end goal for Simply Create? Where are you trying to get to?
Simply Create is something that I set out wanting to really focus on my local area, as local as I could become, with the stretching out of Essex and East London, really, which is what the podcast is kind of all about. Which in the day and age of the internet, there's ability to go worldwide and all that kind of stuff, which is amazing. But actually, we often miss things that are on our doorstep. And I'm really interested about those things. The someone who's got a business right around the corner that I could potentially help and take them from kind of being what they are to building their brand and bringing them into the kind of digital world of kind of social media. So that's what it's really about. But the passion that runs through that is the fact that I think that creativity is a really underrated skill in business. I feel like it's kind of overlooked at times at what can really build a great culture if you're growing your team. So I really want a business that has a big team, a large team based wherever. I don't actually want a headquarters. I don't want a business bricks and mortar. I want it to be based from different kind of satellite of their own homes, etc., and it all being networked, but working in a collaboration style, and kind of very kind of fluid in the way in which like people don't necessarily have to work the 9 till 5, as we've already discussed. So I really want to kind of build that kind of online business community, but something where we're all kind of working to one goal. That's really the main focus of Simply Create. It's taken a while. It's going to take a lot longer than anyone I think ever really thinks. But it's the journey, and I'm loving what I'm doing, and I getting my hands dirty every day. So
that's good.
Yeah, that's kind of it, really.
I'm sure you're learning a lot as well. Like along the way, right? You've learned so much.
I'm trying to absorb like a sponge as much as I can. You know, some days you do that better than others.
What's the thing? What's the biggest challenge that you found?
Mine is probably something I've always known, but has become more and more apparent. Is the fact that I always have ideas. I have loads of ideas. I have books and things I want to. I know I got to be really careful to stay focused on what's going to bring value to the business and me, and what's going to push the quality of my business forward, rather than just be a little side project for a little while. But then that little while might take me away for 2-3 months and nothing really happened with the business. So I just need to be careful with that. But I'm very mindful of it, which helps.
And have you so like it sounds like kind of similar to myself. In my business, I'm that kind of guy. Like I have ideas like all the time, and I'm like, I want to do this, want to do that. But my business partner Sabrina, she's much more organized.
Yep.
And structured. Have you thought about, is this something you want to do on your own, or have you thought about actually?
So I actually have someone who works for me already. That I hired, which was another process in itself, which was interesting.
Oh, okay.
His name's Sam.
How's that?
He's a graphic designer, going brilliantly. Interesting, because obviously you have to always think about payment and money and finance.
A lot of other things, but you're not just looking at yourself. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I also have 2 people that I'm hoping to bring on board in the future, but I actually know them. One of them's an auditor, so very structured. And I used to work with him, and the other one's a project manager and I've worked with both of them, trust them immensely, been great help, even getting me this far. So I'd love to bring them on board, and they know this already. I'm very open with them. I just need to get to a certain phase where I can afford them, because they're very experienced, let's put it that way. So
yeah, that's good, and it obviously shows they've got belief in your business. If they're willing to come on board and join, so that should give you
really supportive, and try to open doors for me, and they're there to give me feedback where I'm really deep into the business. Sometimes you have to go outside of yourself and be like, what's going on? What have I got this right? I literally had a call with them like last week and said, this is something I need to go down. I want to explore. Do I leave it or do I carry on? And they were like, nope, it sounds spot on, so carry on, kind of thing.
That's so useful to have a sounding board. 100, completely. Especially people that you trust and are obviously good at what they do.
Yeah.
Because I'm like yourself, I have so many ideas, and then sometimes you're like, am I crazy? Is this like crazy idea?
Nah.
And they're like, no, that works, but you just need to do it in a certain, think about the structure and channel it in a certain way.
Yeah, and certain way and certain time, right? Sometimes you have to wait, right? It's a great idea, but let's go back to it in 6 months or whatever. Park it and carry on, rather than just dive straight in and forget about kind of other stuff. So
yeah, you forget about what you're doing in the morning, like come up with your plan for the day, and then like halfway through you're researching some other idea that was not on the agenda at all.
Exactly.
I know that feeling.
Definitely happened to me. Chris, it's been absolutely fantastic to have you on. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on. I really hope people check you out, check your business out. And again, if Simply Create could do anything to support you and help you, then please get in contact and let us know. But yeah, we'll obviously be pushing this out to all podcast platforms, and people can have a look, and hopefully they'll get in touch with you.
Sounds good. Yeah, I like the format, and same. I'll sort of be watching out what you're doing as well. Excellent. Maybe in a year's time we'll sort of catch up if you're not too big time by then.
or you. That is part of the plan, actually. One of the reasons I ask the question, what do you reckon you'll be doing in like a 2 years time, a year and a half's time, is that it will be really nice to potentially have old podcast kind of guests on and revisit where they are, what they're doing, even to the point of, and I'm sure this will not be in your case, but if they're not doing that anymore, I think that'd be really interesting kind of story of that journey. Yeah,
definitely. It'd be interesting to have that to look back on as well, to see how things change, how you look at things. I think always looking at things differently. So
definitely. Okay, sure. Thank you very much. Have a great time and all the best for the future.
All right. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a review, and any comments with any feedback would be much